All right, we're going to do some Q&A. The first one is, Brendan's got a clip that I'm going to get him to play in just a second because I keep getting this question. Via email, text, phone, conversation, everybody wants to know where gun owners stands on Trump. And we've talked about it a little bit, but San Diego County gun owners, Inland Empire gun owners, and Orange County gun owners, they do not endorse on the federal level. In fact, we really can't endorse on the federal level. The way we're set up, we can really only endorse on local and county and state, which all voter guides will reflect that. But we are unable to endorse on the federal level. But this is Gun Owners Radio. So those are the three packs, but this is Gun Owners Radio. So we're allowed to talk a little bit more freely, I guess is maybe the way to put it. So I wanted Brendan to play a clip here on Trump talking about the Second Amendment. And honestly, I don't even think we need to endorse. I think you can hear this and make your own assessment. This was just a few days ago, Trump talking about the Second Amendment. Can you play that, Brendan?
If you take away guns, she wants to take away everyone's gun. If you take away guns, you can't do it because people need the guns for protection. Now, entertainment, they want it, hunting, they want, different things. But they need weapons for protection in this country. People live out in the woods and they're not going to have a gun. If you look at some countries, I don't want to get them in trouble, but some countries have actually gone the opposite way. They had very strong gun laws, and now they have gone the opposite way, where they allowed people to have guns, where in one case they encouraged people to go out and get guns, and crime is down 29%. And remember this, what is the toughest gun law in the United States? Chicago. On July 4th, 117 people were shot and 17 died. The toughest gun laws in the United States are in the city of Chicago. You know that. They had 117 people shot. Afghanistan does not have that.
So, in his first 4 years, in his first term, we found out that he carries, he owns, his kids especially were very supportive. He went to the NRA convention, I think every year, and talked about how important the Second Amendment was. I think the big issue was what he did with bump stocks, and that was, FPC took that straight to the federal or to the Supreme Court, and that was the Trump administration that outlawed bump stocks or tried to, and that's a problem. But I do think that this statement is a deeper, more fundamental reflection of the Second Amendment and the understanding of the Second Amendment being self-defense than we've ever seen from Trump. I also always appreciated the fact that, if there was something that hit the news, some kind of horrible crime or whatever, with Obama, with Biden, we always had to worry about them coming out and blaming guns and calling for another ban. And with Trump, we didn't have to worry about that. So I wanted to play that. I think you can make your own decision. I think, Kamala Harris has said that she wants to use an executive order to take semi-automatic long guns away from you, AKA assault weapons ban, which is not only anti-Second Amendment, it's just completely unconstitutional. You just can't do that, especially from the executive branch. Her vice president is kind of one of these hunter guys who, like, hey, it's okay to have a bolt-action hunting rifle, but everything else we need to ban and get rid of. So I think the choice is pretty clear. Okay, one of the other questions was and I'm getting this kind of fairly often because people are leaving San Diego. Some are leaving San Diego and going to different counties. Some are leaving San Diego and going to different states. But they wanted to know, when they leave, what do you do with your CCW, your San Diego CCW? How do you give that up? And so I contacted licensing, and they said that all you do is send it in. You just mail it right in. There's no special nothing that you have to do. You just mail it to them, and that's it. In San Bernardino, we were talking about this. In San Bernardino, I had someone who moved there, and they were getting a CCW. And San Bernardino had a lot of language that basically amounted to, we're not going to issue a CCW for work purposes. And that is so vague. And this guy was a bodyguard, basically, is what he did. And he said, well, of course I'm going to use it for work. So can I not get a CCW? Like, how does this, how does this work? So I worked my way up the chain, starting with, a clerk at licensing, and then got all the way up to the command staff. And what was told to me, just verbatim, was if they apply and say that the only reason they're getting the CCW is in order to obtain a job that requires it, and that's the only reason they're getting it, then they'll get denied. Otherwise, they'll get accepted and everything's good to go. They can carry when they're working. They can carry when they're not working. That was the definitive answer, but that wasn't the only answer I got, but that was the definitive answer. And since we got that answer, and I pointed out to the sheriff, who's great. Sheriff Dykus is great up there, but we pointed it out. I sent an email pointing it out to the sheriff, and the feedback I've gotten since is that language has disappeared from a lot of their literature. So I don't even think you have to worry about it anymore.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
Was this before or after Bruin?
So that was
part. How do they know?
I know that was part of my. There's like a little question. There's like a little supplementary questionnaire.
Okay.
That was part of my inquiry when I talked to the clerk. I said, "Hey, I think this is just left over from pre-Bruin when you needed good cause." And they're, "Oh no. This is how it works, whatever." And I'm like, this isn't making any sense. So I escalated. Finally got a hold of the command staff. And anyway, I think the feedback I'm getting now is that it's completely disappeared. So I don't think they're even asking the question anymore.
I didn't think they were allowed to.
Yeah, and I think they're allowed to ask, right? They're allowed to ask anything they want. But I don't think that their process, that little piece of their process, had caught up to Bruin. And I think you're absolutely right. It was left over from Bruin. And that was the point I made. I was like, hey, this seems like it's totally over. Anyway, looks like it's not even an issue anymore. So San Bernardino, send in feedback if you see otherwise. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
Excellent. Nice homework. How'd you get that high?
Kept calling, kept whining, kept crying and whining and saying that doesn't make any sense.
It's not that easy to get that high up, is it?
No, but yeah, it wasn't. But if you remain
polite,
if you remain professional and polite and persistent, eventually, you get to where you need to be. Plus, he knows, the sheriff knows our organization, Inland Empire Gun Owners. We'd met before.
And that's how you represented yourself, with San Diego County Gun Owners?
Inland Empire Gun Owners.
Or Inland Empire Gun Owners.
So, yeah. So, but, there are a bunch of little things that these packs do. The number one thing that we do is the voter guide. And the voter guide is out for San Diego. It's coming with Inland Empire. It's coming with Orange County. So, thanks for your patience. It'll be there soon. That's the number one thing. That's the reason we exist, is to get the right people elected. But there are a number of things we do along the way that I don't promote enough. I don't talk about enough. But like these little, which is why we started this Q&A thing, because I get emails, texts all the time. People asking questions, and I'm realizing, I'm not talking about this stuff. Like the guy that we helped, who was in a defensive gun use and got his the red flag law used against them, and we helped him. These little things along the way that we help with, I don't think get enough coverage. But the ability to kind of point that out and go, hey, you know what, that doesn't make any sense. I think it's left over from pre-Bruin. I think it needs to be updated. That stuff is kind of an added benefit. The engaging with media, that's an added benefit of some of the stuff we do that helps change the culture and helps people along. Anyway, do check out our voter guide, SanDiegoCountyGunOwners.com/voter guide or stcgo.org/voter guide. Yes, ma'am. Quick
question for you coming out of the chat.
Oh, go for it.
All right. They're asking, what did you do yesterday for the 40th anniversary of Red Dawn?
I had a moment of silence. And, just
run around the backyard?
Observed it. Observed it quietly in the piece of.
You didn't rewatch it?
My solace. No, I have it pretty much memorized. There's no need to watch. Actually, I did. On the big screen, I learned something. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, we did. We talked about
that?
Yep.
First time I'd ever seen the scene before the two brothers go off and die. They set this whole big, they set the whole town on fire and die. The scene before that, he was writing his own name on that rock where they all wrote the names of the victims, I'd never noticed that because I'd always watched it on a little tiny screen. and I'd never noticed he was writing his own name. I thought he was writing like one of his friends, like Jennifer Grey's name, her character or something like that. But I realized he was writing his own name. Foreshadowing.
Did it move you?
I was a little moved. I always get a little moved when I read Don. It's best movie ever. Best movie ever made. Best documentary about World War III ever created.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so that's our Q&A. If you have questions, people seem to find a way to ask, but info@sdcgo.org. Text me, email me, let me know. One question I'm working on. I don't even know. I'm working on. I'll tell you. There's a lot. I'm getting a lot of answers on, does a California CCW work on a reservation? On a native reservation. I'm getting a bunch of different answers. So I'm working with the sheriff of San Diego, and she said, you know what, that is worth some attention. And I'm hoping within the next couple weeks, I'm going to have an answer on letterhead from a person who got the definitive real answer, and I'll let you know. Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. If you're watching mainstream media, you're not getting the truth about guns. Gun Owners Radio is the easiest way to stay on top of the Second Amendment fight, the fight for your self-defense rights. You can watch our live stream on YouTube every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, or if you're in San Diego, AM 1170, FM 96.1, The Answer. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Gun Owners Radio and you'll find our show. Like and subscribe to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.